Here's a question for you. Can you tolerate your own company? Are you able to be on your own for any length of time and not reach for your phone or the television, the radio, or anything really to distract you from yourself? Before I get into the monologue, I want to thank everybody who's been in touch and emailed me, and I really thank you for it. I've been away a few days, and if you go away for 2 or 3 days, as I have recently, you come back and you find the email box is absolutely swamped. And as I say this all the time, I'm sorry if I can't get back to you or I don't get to see you. I've only got one eye, and the screen is difficult for me, so I can't always answer all the emails. And a nice cup of coffee and my pipe. Also, thank you so much to everybody who is donating to the channel and keeping this going, especially now that YouTube have decided no longer to allow me to make any money from the adverts. So I'm pretty much reliant on people keeping the channel going. And I do try to be as relevant as I can, but I don't want to get into the scaremongering business anymore. I want to look at solutions and way out of the matrix, and to find ways for all of us to thrive and enjoy our lives. For me, very often it's sitting alone by the fire, smoking my pipe, or in company with the lovely Julia. And we may sit here, we may have a drink, we may cook, and we will often read to one another books. But a lot of the time, when I am on my own, I enjoy obviously smoking my pipe, of course, but that brings me great comfort. But just being in the house or going for a walk on my own, I actually enjoy my own company. And it strikes me that a lot of people don't. Not because it's difficult, really, but because they've been teased away from it. We're in a situation, are we not, where the family has been split apart. We've seen, I think it was Tony Blair who was saying education, education, education 3 times, notice. And in doing so, sent a lot of the children, a lot of the boys and girls, the offspring of mums and dads, to the far-flung parts of the country to go to university, where they settle down with friends and often stay there after the education is over. The education, of course, is not always as educationing as you may want, because they are indoctrinated with all sorts of things. But let's not get into that side of the argument. I was listening to something about the mobile phones earlier today, which sort of inspired me really to make this, because I feel that people are very much after that endorphin hit of the mobile phone. There comes a message. Oh, who's that from? They put a video or a photo on Facebook or something like that. They're waiting for someone to like it. They feel that they need approval all the time, or they need somebody to make their life just that little bit better. They're not what you might say self-sufficient, able to be absolutely in themselves, of themselves, and by themselves. I don't necessarily mean sitting in front of a fire and smoking a pipe and drinking a nice cup of coffee or whatever it might be, but I just mean tolerating their own company. It's very difficult. We are in these very tragic times at the moment. The great, well, I was at the beginning of the year, I called it the great revelation, the great revelation. Now I'm calling it the great unraveling, as we're starting to see the truth and the lies unravel and the truth shine through, which I think is absolutely important and necessary. But unless, it seems to me, and this is just my opinion, of course, and you may disagree, that unless we're able to be in control of ourselves, our whims, and have a relatively strong will, we will always be at the beck and call of those parasites who ought not be in control, but that somehow we've allowed them to, because we've, let's face it, we have become impotent. We've not argued back when they've gone off what they say in their manifesto, for example, in a government that suddenly changes all its pledges and all those things it promised to do. If you were one of those people who thought that governments would actually do as you say when you vote them in. I personally don't believe in voting and haven't voted. I don't think that I need to go and beg people to come and control and tell me what to do. I try to be my own man, as indeed I'm sure most of my viewers are trying desperately to be their own. But it's this business about, I think, tolerating your own company, being happy with yourself, not having to reach for something to distract you all the time, something that you feel, oh, I can't bear the silence, I can't bear being on my own, I can't bear being alone in the house. Now, I'm not suggesting for one moment that we stay in that state all the time. Of course, it would be great to go to the pub or to meet in groups. And we used to have youth theatres, as I often say, where the youth could go and frequent with one another instead of being upstairs in their bedrooms on their own, but distracted by their mobile phone or by computer games or by chat rooms or by goodness knows what, really, but not actually empowering themselves, not just the ability to think for themselves, but that ability to be with yourself and know that you are something worth being with, that you love yourself in actual fact, that you care for yourself, because after all, if you can't love yourself, how can you love someone else? Now, some people may disagree with that statement, and of course you're very welcome to disagree, and we all have our own opinions on this. But I think in the forthcoming weeks and months, it may be that we need to be on our own a little bit to consider what is being offered to us by those people who are very keen and very quick to show us the way to live and to be. And that's why I'm very clear saying these are just my opinions. I'm not dictating how anybody should live whatsoever. And I say this repeatedly, you must make your own mind up, or you must have your own opinion. You're welcome to disagree. It's about opening the mind. But many people will try, like in mainstream media, to sell a narrative or to tell you through the advertising or the sitcoms or the soap operas how you ought to live your life. You ought to have this thing, because unless you have this thing, this shiny new thing, you are not happy. And unless you have it, that's where happiness is. You've got to spend the money. You've got to work harder. You've got to be away and distracted, working for somebody else in part of this corporation takeover, where everything is run by corporations, and the small businesses, the family-run businesses, are being ousted all over the place so that the corporations can deal in commerce with your legal fiction, of course, distracting from you that you are indeed a living man or a living woman, that in your own right, that you breathe and you are not a piece of paper, that you do actually are able to hop, skip and jump. You're not just a capitalized name on a bit of paper, a concept that's been created by the state, and you're expected to work and make the state or the corporations more money. I think that being one with yourself, being patient, whether that be involved in something that absorbs you, maybe you're a carpenter, maybe you're collecting stamps. Do people still do that? Maybe you're studying something. I hear students often say, oh, I put music on when I study. So there's that constant need. I hear housewives say, I always have the television on. I'm not watching it, but it's on to keep me company, almost as if they cannot bear their own company. And that is so sad. For me, there is nothing more pleasant than sitting perhaps in the countryside, on a seat, on a stile, on a log, and just observing the world around me, the beautiful, the incredible, the sensational, the amazing beauty of nature. Or sometimes just the design of a well-designed object, that you might look at something, a piece of art, and observe it and be one with it, without anyone telling you how to think or how to feel, or anyone telling you, oh, you must go and watch this film because it's the best thing since sliced bread, and you end up with the hive mind, that you're making up your own mind. You're being in your own company with that one object or whatever it is. It gives you a sense of purpose, a sense of being, connecting, if you like, with your higher self, with your God, with the moment, being in the moment, here and now, which is the only moment there ever is, of course. And it may be just eating an apple or drinking a drink and being one with it, not distracted, not being told what to think or how to think or taken away on somebody else's thoughts, but they're your own unique thoughts. The other thing that being on your own teaches you, brings to you, offers you, something which is very much now almost disappeared, and that is patience. Patience. The ability to wait for something to unfold in its own time. People no doubt will be watching this as I speak at 1.5 times or even 2 times, so that they get the conversation so quickly because they want to absorb the information and move on, because there's another video they've got to really watch very quickly because they must watch at least 10 videos before they go to bed. I mean, it's ridiculous, isn't it? It's ridiculous. So even me lighting my pipe and not talking for a few moments is almost intolerable to people because they've lost the ability for patience, the ability to let things unfold in the moment. And ultimately, at the end of the day, as well as it getting dark, at the end of the day, we are one unique consciousness. It's great to be with friends. It's great to put the world to rights. It's great to do all those things. It's a balance. And at times, it is so empowering, certainly for myself, I don't know whether you find this, to be on your own and in command, to be self-sufficient. You don't need the other things. Yes, they're nice. They're the icing on the cake. A talk with a friend, a stroll with a mate, listening to a podcast. They're great, the icing, as I say, but you don't need it because you're in control of yourself. You can control yourself in any situation. Waiting for a train, waiting for a bus, waiting for a friend to turn up, waiting for someone to stop lighting his pipe. That you have that patience. You are able to allow the moment to unfold. To me, having that ability is so empowering. It builds my confidence, especially with where we're going at the moment and the times we're in. The confidence to know that actually governments, councils, globalists, they have no power over me, that I have the power. I will decide. Thank you very much. I won't immediately sign on the dotted line. I won't immediately buy that trinket that's flashing in front of me. I can consider things. I can take my time. It's my time. And very often I choose to be with myself. It is a very powerful thing. Thank you so much for watching.